new topic. So before going to the topic, let us first find out what Swiflearn is, right? As you already know by now, what is Swiflearn? Swiflearn is the India's most sincere learning destination for classes 1 to 10. So over here, what you will get here is all the classes in Swiflearn is 100% live and interactive classes. So if you have any sort of doubt, any type of topic you need to discuss with your teacher, you can do it because it is totally live class. So any sort of doubt will be cleared in the classes only. Right. Secondly, we give the personalized attention to each and every student in our badges because our badges consist of maximum 6 students, not more than that. So it actually help us to keep an attention to each and every students who are learning over here, right? Thirdly, we have a very strong and dedicated academic mentor team who continuously keep a track on the working progress of the students. So how the students is performing in the classroom, how they are performing in the homework, they are doing the homework or not, how they are securing the marks or how they are scoring in each of the topic. Everything is tracked by our academic mentor team, right? So that will help you to learn more and that will help you to improve, right? And fourthly, which is also very important, that is we cover our syllabus whatever you have in your school examination, right? And if you request anything like any sort of custom request, we also handle that. And if you request for any one topic to cover first because it is having in your school exam, we do that first and then we go to the rest of the topics. This type of custom request we can handle, right? So these are the general features of Swiflearn. Now let us move on to the key features of Swiflearn. What are the key features? First of all, you will get a detailed progress report of yourself, how you are doing in the class, what is the grasping capacity or understanding capacity, how you are competing with your peers, right? Or how you are performing in your homework or any type of test series. Everything is tracked and that progress report is given to you, right? Secondly, we have the Swiflearn academic test series, which in short we call as the SATs, where you will be able to perform and you will be able to understand where you are standing. Okay. Thirdly, which is very important, each after completing each and every topic, you need to test yourself that whether the topic is totally covered, fully you are prepared for the examination or not, right? So for that you can take unlimited practice tests to test yourself and to improve yourself. If you are lagging in the topic, you can take the test again and you will be able to improve yourself, right? So you can take unlimited practice tests which actually include all the objective types of questions as well as the subjective questions. And finally, the subjective test is also there for your school exam, which is very important because most of the time you just lose marks if you don't give the key points or the key words in your answer, Hannah. So that is why it will help you to improve better and score more, right? So subjective test you can perform and our teachers will check them and give you the tips how to improve your answer, and you will do that accordingly to get more marks in the school as well as the board exam, right? So these are our key features. To experience all these features, book a free trial class. The trial classes are all free, so book it now and experience all the features of Swiflearn, right? Will you do that? I know you will do that. Okay. So now what you have to do is please subscribe our channel in YouTube and press on the bell icon so that you will be updated by all the upcoming classes of different topics and different subjects, right? As per your grade. So what you have to do is you have to stay with us till the end and like, comment and share with all your family members and the friends, right? Okay, chalo. So this is all about Swiflearn and our channel. Now let us move on to the topic. So as I have already said that today we will start with a new topic, and our new topic of discussion for today's session is windstorm and cyclone. It is a topic of CBSE class 7, right? Okay, so you already have heard of these words, right? You have heard of the word wind, you have heard of the word storm, as well as cyclone. What actually happens in this? There are the different changes in the air, the blowing of the air, and also the atmospheric changes takes place, where we can find the thunderstorm, we can find the rainfall, we can find the harsh blowing of the air, right? So we will study all about this in today's session. So these are our learning objectives for today's session. First, we will discuss about the pressure exerted by the air, how the pressures is exerted by the air in the different situation, in also in the everyday life. We will study all of that. Then we will study about the relation between the wind speed and this pressure. Fine. Thirdly, we will discuss about the wind which flows from the region of the high pressure to the region of the low pressure always. So how it is flowing and how it is always from the high pressure to the low pressure region. We will discuss about that. And fourthly, which is also very important, we will discuss about the warm air always rise up in the atmosphere. Okay. And cold air takes its place. So how it actually happens in the atmosphere, we will discuss all in today's session. Fine. So I guess you are ready for that. Yes. Okay. Now think about the situation is somewhere the cyclone is happening and you are getting the news in the newspaper, right? Generally we get the warning from the newspaper as well as the television or radio, and we come to know that the cyclone is coming in a particular region, right? So we have heard about this cyclone, this storm, and it is totally destructive in nature, right? So what actually happens in the cyclone? Can anybody tell me? Yes, I'm waiting for your answer in the chat box. Okay, I'm not telling you what is cyclone, you will tell me what is cyclone. Okay, now what actually happens, or what are the different harmful effects of the cyclone? Obviously, it ends up with the damaging of the properties, all the, like most of the house or the tall buildings, they have a lot of damages during the cyclone in a particular region, depending upon the intensity of the cyclone, obviously, right? Then breaking down of the trees, right? Sometimes we can see over here the trees are totally uprooted and they just fall on the ground, blocking the roads, right? And even it ends up with killing of the many animals as well as the human being. So obviously when you were not in the shelter, or you were going outside during the cyclone, you were not following the warning which are given by the different news channels, so you can face that type of destructive natural calamities, and you will not be able to take proper preventive measures, and you can face the danger of the cyclone, right? Same thing happens in case of the different animals who are continuously roaming around in the road in your locality, and they do not have the shelter properly, so they can also be killed by this sort of natural calamity, right? So cyclone is very dangerous in that case, right? Exactly. So all the different destructive things we already know about the cyclone, can you tell me which is the first, which is the last or the recent cyclone which happened in India in the previous year, like 2020? Can you name the cyclone? Generally, it happened in the Bay of Bengal. Starting from there, it was coming in the northeast side. Yes, the name of the cyclone is Amphan. Remember? Yes, it happened in the month of April, May in 2020. Hannah? Okay. Now I have not got your answer. What is cyclone? So I'm giving you the answer on my own. That is, cyclone is the weather system where we can see that the wind rotates or circulates inward to the region of the low pressure zone, right? Where the low atmospheric pressure is created, it rotates surrounding it, right? This is the situation of the cyclone. Understood up to this much? Okay. Now you might have thought about various types of questions can come to your mind, that what is cyclone and why they are so much destructive, right? Have you thought of it? Yes. Okay, so I'll give you this answer. Before going to this answer, we have to first find out the different characteristic features of the air and the wind. right? So you already have an idea what is air, what is wind, right? You have studied it in the previous grade, right? In class 6, Hannah? Okay. So anybody, can you tell me what is air, or what is it actually composed of, or what is it actually made up of? Yes. Okay, so air is actually the mixture of the different gases, right? So, what are the different gases actually present in the air around us? It is mostly made up of nitrogen. So, 78% of the air is having nitrogen, right? 21% we can say that oxygen is present, and the remaining 1% is the other different types of gas. It can include the carbon dioxide, the other different inert gases, as well as the water vapor. So if I think about a carbon dioxide, it is like 0.003%, right? So these are the different mixture of gases which form the air. And what do you mean by the wind? Yes. Is there anybody who will tell me what is wind? Yes, in the chat box. Okay, so wind is nothing but the blowing air, right? So when the air starts blowing, it forms the wind. Okay, so wind can be of two types. We have already studied when it is very light, very soothing, very pleasant. We call it as the breeze. Hannah, land breeze and sea breeze. We already have studied in the previous grade, right? And wind is the harsh blowing of the air, right? When it is blowing harshly, we call it as the wind, and when it is very much pleasant, light and soothing, we call it as the breeze. So wind and breeze are the two sides of a coin, we can say, right? Now we have to move on to the characteristic feature of the air, right? So already you have an idea what is air, because you have studied this chapter of air and atmosphere in class 6, as far as I know, right? Yes. So we already know what is it composed of. Now, can you tell me what are the different properties which are present in the air? Yes. Okay. So air is having some mass. Obviously, air has mass, and that is why it is pulled towards the center of the earth, and that is why it is also having weight, right? Okay. Air exerts some pressure, right? And also air occupies some space, right? When you are blowing any balloon, that air is all inside the balloon, and it is taking place within the balloon, so it is occupying some space also, right? We have studied a lot of experiments for that also, right? Now let us move on to one type of activity which will prove that air exerts pressure, right? So what you have to do over here is take a tin can, okay, which will be half filled with water. Now take a candle and glow it, and start heating up the water within the can, right? Okay, so what will you see? After 2 to 3 minutes, you will be able to see that the water starts boiling within the can, right? When it will be boiled for 2 to 3 minutes, just blow the candle and immediately put a lid on the tightly on the can, so that the warm air will not go out of the can. Fine, but always keep it in mind, do this activity in the supervision of some adult, because it is dangerous. While handling the boiling water, you have to be very much careful, right? Now take that can and put it in the wash basin, okay, and now pour some fresh cool water on it. So what will you see? What will be the observation of this activity? You will see that the can gets distorted like this. You can see it in the picture. Yes, you will observe that the can is getting distorted. Now, can you tell me why does the can gets distorted like this? Yes. Anybody in the chat box, let me find out who can give me the answer, that why this distortion of the can actually takes place when we are pouring some cold water on it. Because the warm air which is present within the can, it will become cold and it will condensed, right? So the amount of air within the can will decrease, so the air pressure within the can will decrease than the atmospheric pressure outside, and the air outside will create some pressure or exert some pressure to make the can distorted, right? And this is the proof that air exerts some pressure. Clear hai? Up to this much, any question you can ask me? If you ask me what is condensed or how the air gets condensed within the can, I will tell you condensation process you already know, where the gaseous form will be converted into the liquid form, right? So within the can, what was present? The hot air, right? We can call it as the water vapor also. So when this water vapor is converted into the water droplets by cooling it, this process is known as the condensation, and that help the warm air to become cool and converted into the liquid and decrease the amount of air inside the can. And that is why the outside air will make the can distorted due to the more pressure in the atmospheric air, or we can say in the outside air. Up to this much clear? Yes. Okay, now let us move on to another activity. See, over here you have to take two balloons, right? And fill the balloons with a little amount of water. Okay, then after filling it with some water, blow it. Okay, and tie it with the help of a string. So you have to make sure that when you are tying the two balloons with a string, you have to keep a distance of 10 to 12 centimeter in between the two balloons, right? Like this has been done. Now, what you have to do? Blow just in between the balloon. Okay, blow in the space between the balloon. What will you observe? Yes, yes. Anybody, can you tell me in the chat box? Yes. Okay. So while we are blowing in between the balloon, the wind is passing, right? So we have increased the speed of the wind in between. And that helped the balloon, the atmospheric pressure around the balloon to push themselves towards each other. Because when we are blowing in between the two balloons, actually what happened, the air pressure in between them will lower, and around the two balloon, this side and this side, obviously the air pressure will be increased and they will try to push the balloon towards each other. And that is again another example of air having their pressure. Okay, yes beta, air pressure, very good, Dhyanish. Okay, so this is the proof that air exerts some pressure, and also we have understood from here that when we are increasing the wind speed, so when we are blowing in between the two balloons, so the wind speed over there will be increased, and that helps to reduce the air pressure, right? So we can say that this wind speed and the pressure will be inversely proportional, or we can say that when the wind speed increases, the pressure over that region will decrease. Clear here? Up to this much clear? Yes. Okay, very good. Chalo, now we already have seen that how the wind flow, right? Now the wind flow from which region to which region? Obviously, where the air will be more, that will create some high pressure zone, and the wind will start flowing from the high pressure zone to the low pressure zone. Okay, so always keep it in mind that the wind flows from the region of the high pressure towards the region of the low pressure. Clear here? Okay, now greater the pressure, lesser will be the wind speed, right? So when the wind speed is very high, pressure will be decreased, and vice versa, when the wind speed is very low, the pressure will be increased. So up to this much clear? Yes, I've shown you with the help of the activity also. Is there any question till now? You can ask me in the chat box if you have any question about the topic which we have till now discussed. Yeah? Okay. Now, you must have seen a hot air balloon, right? Yes. Now, can you tell me what makes the balloon fly high in the sky? Yes. Any idea? What help it to fly up high up in the sky? Yes. Make sure that it is the hot air balloon. So the air which is present within the balloon is hot. Okay, so the air which is present in the balloon is hot, and the hot air or the air which is warmer than the outside air which is cooler make the balloon to go upward. Always remember that the warmer air is lighter than the cooler air, cold air, right? And that help the warm air to move upward, and the empty space which is created by the in that region by upward movement of the hot air will be occupied by the cold air. Okay, this is how air flows. Actually, air circulates in the atmosphere. Okay, so the warm air which is present within the balloon will make the balloon lighter than the cold air, and that is why it will rise up. Okay, fine, up to this much clear, I guess. Yes, now let us move on to the different balloons which you can see over here. So due to this hot air, the balloon flies high in the sky, and as it has the warm air inside it, it helps the balloon to move upward, right? Now, have you ever seen these beautiful lanterns? Mainly we can see in the different festival. We can see generally during the Diwali. Yes, have you seen this one? Yes. Do you know how they move upward? Can you tell me how this sky lantern fly high up in the sky? Yes, anybody? Okay, so this is because of the same phenomena, right? So when you were lighting up the lantern, so over here you can find out the image. See, it is you have lighted up the lantern, and there is some hot air which is created within this lantern, right? And that will make the lantern lighter because of the hot air, and this lighten up of the what to say this lantern will help that lantern to move upward. Okay, and when the air inside the lantern gets heated up completely, it will help the lantern to rise up in the sky. So this is how the sky lantern can go high up in the sky. Up to this much clear? Okay, now, so we have till now discussed about the air, the different properties of the air, the characteristic features of the air, and also we have studied about the different experiments which proves that the air exerts pressure. Now, can you tell me some of the examples which prove that the air exerts pressure other than that tin can which I have already proved to you, or that balloon? Yes. So some examples which proves that the air exerts pressure. Can you tell me some of the examples? Yes, you can find it in the daily life. Yes. Okay. Let me show you one. Okay. So when you are sucked up the air from your mouth within the throat, what will happen? See? Yeah, can you see my face? So what will happen? It will again distort my cheek, and it will go inside it because there is some atmospheric pressure also which will help to distort my cheek, right? Now, take some air from your throat and keep it inside the mouth. What will happen? Right? So there is some air present in my mouth, right? And that will help to swell up the cheek, right? Like this. Yeah, can you see that? Yes. So this is also one example of the air exerts pressure. Yes. Anything else? Can you tell me? Okay, the kite, we can fly in the air because there is some pressure on the kite also which help the kite to fly high up in the sky. Anything else? Flying off the light sky lantern, we can say. When we blow the balloon, we can see that the air which is present within the balloon, they are creating some pressure in the inner wall of the balloon, and that is why it is having some different shape, right? Over there also the air is exerting some pressure within the inner wall of the balloon, right? Anything else coming to your mind? Yes, when you are drinking something with the straw, right? When you suck up the air which is already present in the straw, so what will happen? The air will enter in your mouth, right? And the atmospheric pressure will create some pressure on the liquid so that the liquid will also flow through the straw, and then you will be able to drink the fluid, right? Drink the liquid, the juice or anything, right? So that is also another activity of the which proves that the air exerts pressure, right? So these are some of the examples which proves that the air exerts pressure, right? Now can you tell me why does the wind flow from land to ocean during the winter season and just opposite, that means from ocean to land during the summer season? Do you have any answer? Yes. Let me see who can give me the correct answer in the chat box now. Yeah. Okay. Now think about the situation in the winter season. What will happen? Actually, the land gets cooled down faster than the water of the ocean. Right? So when the water of the ocean is warmer, the surface will also have some hot air, and the hot air will go up towards the upper layer of the atmosphere. And what will happen? That region will become empty, and the wind will start flowing from the land towards the ocean. Okay, and it will take up that empty space, and that is how the wind actually flows from the land towards the ocean. Okay, now the same thing, just the opposite thing happens in case of the summer. So what will happen in the case of summer? So the land also heated up very fast, but the sea water will remain colder, right? Now obviously when the air is hot air is present on the surface of the land, it will try to go up in the sky, and the cold air from the ocean will try to fill up that space on the land, and that is why in during the summer the wind will flow from the ocean towards the land. Okay, this is how wind actually flows from the land to ocean during the winter season and from the ocean to the land during the summer season. Right? Clear hai? Up to this much, any question? Yeah, this similar type of thing actually happens in case of the formation of the land breeze as well as the sea breeze. Right? Sea breeze generally happen during the daytime and land breeze happen during the night time. Right? Up to this much, any question, any doubt, you can ask me in the chat box. I'll clear all your doubt. Yes? Okay, chalo. Now let's move on to some fun fact, right? So do you know that depending on the strength, wind can be known as the different terms. We can give the different terms to the wind. It can be called as the breeze, gale, storm, or hurricane, right? Okay. Next, the instrument which helps to measure the wind speed is known as the anemometer, right? Thirdly, Saturn and Neptune feature the fastest planetary wind in the solar system. Okay, and air pressure changes help the predict the local weather of a region. Okay, so rising the air pressure usually means the fair weather, and when it is falling, the air pressure is falling, it generally means that the weather will be stormy. Okay, so up to this much clear? Yes? Chalo. So let me give you a challenge of the day. Let me find out who can give me the correct answer first of this challenge. Okay. So while the pressure gradient force is from the north to the south, that is from the subtropical high pressure region to the equator in the northern hemisphere, why the wind northeasterlies is in the tropics? Can you tell me? Anybody? So look at the question carefully. I'm again repeating that while the pressure gradient force is from north to south, it is from the north to the south direction, that is from the subtropical high pressure zone to the equatorial zone. Okay, in the northern hemisphere, why the wind northeasterlies are happening in the tropical region, or we can face it in the tropics. Can you anybody tell me? Yes. Okay, it is because the wind always move from the high pressure zone to the low pressure zone, right? And that is why the pressure gradient force is from the north to the south. Okay, so northeasterlies actually blow from the northeast towards the southwest in the northern hemisphere, right? So in the northern hemisphere, in the subtropical region, it will have some high pressure, but in the equatorial region, that pressure, air pressure will be low, right? So that is why the high pressure, the wind is always blowing from the high pressure to the low pressure zone. Clear hai? Up to this much clear? Any question if you have it in your mind, please tell me. I'll make up all your doubt. I'll answer all your doubt. Yes? No? Okay. Chalo. So let's play some game, okay? With some question answer. Okay, let me see what are the questions coming on the screen. The first question is, Orissa was hit by a cyclone with wind speed of 200 kilometer per hour on which date? Can you tell me on which date that Orissa was hit by the cyclone and the wind speed was 200 kilometer per hour? Yes, you have got four options. Yes, that will be okay, so I think it will be 18th October 1999. Let me check whether it is correct or not. Yes, it is correct. Okay, so Orissa was hit by a cyclone with wind speed of 200 kilometer per hour on 18th October 1999. Okay, keep it in mind. Okay, now let's move on to the second question. So you have to drag some words within this filling the blanks, right? So there are words which are given over here in the right hand side, you can see. So the first sentence asks you, air around us exerts dash. So air around us exerts what? Yes, we know that it is the pressure, right? Okay, chalo. We will check later on. ठीक है. So next one is asking, the layer of air surrounding the earth is called. Yes, what is the blanket of air which is surrounding on the earth is called? We call it as the atmosphere, right? Okay. Next, the moving air is called. What is the moving air is known as? I have already mentioned that it is known as wind, right? Okay. Now the fourth question is having two blanks, so go through it carefully. The bicycle tube dash when it is overfilled with dash. So what will happen to the bicycle tube? It will burst when it is overfilled with air, right? Do you also think the same thing? Yeah, so let us check. Yes, all of them are correct. Okay, so the air around us exerts some pressure always. So we have proved it with the help of the different activities. The layer of the air surrounding the earth is called the atmosphere. Then the moving air is known as wind, and the bicycle tube bursts when it is totally filled or overfilled with the air, right? Now let us move on to the next question. So here you have to say whether the statement is true or false, right? So the wind speed during cyclone is 50 to 100 kilometer per hour. Is it true or false? Remember, it is the wind speed of a cyclone. Yes, can you tell me? For the cyclone, it is not the wind speed, it is more than that, right? So we will say that this statement is false, right? Clear, right? Now let's move on to the last question. Your last question is also a filling the blanks, but you have to make out the word, you have to find out the word on your own. So the sentence is, a change in the direction of the wind is caused due to dash of earth. Can you tell me what of earth? Yes, I think it is rotation. Do you agree with me? Yes. Exactly. It is the rotation. Okay. I have given it in the caps. So it is due to the rotation of the earth. Okay. So we have done all the answers, right? Chalo. So let us find out what we have learned today. So till now we have learned about, hi. Hi Gautam. Okay. So what we have learned in this chapter today, we have studied about the air exerts pressure. We have also studied about the different experiments, right? So the increased wind speed result in the reduced pressure, we have studied this one. Thirdly, the wind always flow from the region of the high pressure to the region of the low pressure, this also we have studied. And finally we studied that the warm air is lighter than the cold air, which makes the warm air to rise upward, right? So these were our topic of discussion which we have done in today's session. Okay, so I guess you have all understood whatever we have discussed in today's session. If you have any doubt, you can ask me in the chat box. Yes? Okay. Chalo. So we will again continue with this chapter in the next session also. So what you have to do now is you have to subscribe our channel. Okay, press on the bell icon so that you will be updated by all the different topics which will happen in Swiflearn online classes. Okay, so be with us, like, comment, and share with all your family members and friends. Okay, so we will again meet in the next class. So till then, bye bye, take care, stay safe, and